Welcome to the Allied Angle Client Voices Edition. I'm Amber Guthrie with Allied Solutions. Deposits are the fuel for lending and growth, but in a fiercely competitive market, rate alone won't win the long game. Today, we're exploring strategies that balance near-term performance with long-term stability, and why trust and reputation are what really decide where someone keeps their main account. Joining me are David Tuyo, President and CEO of Peak Credit Union, Brian Best, President and CEO of GTE Financial, and Mike Wilson, President and CEO of Members First Federal Credit Union. They'll walk through the plays that are delivering right now and explore how an engaged partner like Allied can spot the gaps, bring fresh ideas, and strengthen your deposit strategy. What's been your most successful strategy for attracting deposits this past year?
I think you have to have the pulse of the consumer. In each time frame, some folks are trying to maximize return. Others are trying to find a flight to safety. And you have to understand which segment is trying to accomplish what. For us, we're trying to make sure that not only rates, but type of product fits within that, that market. And then that way you not only attract deposit, but you're also not chasing hot money. So hot money chasing, extremely expensive, doesn't make a lot of sense. There's always going to be a component in that business that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, if you don't fit those products for the right time and for the people that you're serving, then you're going to have a little bit of a problem with that. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. It's not going to be easy. In the next couple of years, it's going to be a lot of deposit wars. Everyone's chasing that same dollar. But again, credit unions provide such an incredible relevancy when it comes to membership. If you just take the step back, understand what they need, and build those either time frames, certificates of deposits with the right type of timing approach, then that's going to be a lot more relevant to them.
I think we always look at, trying to breathe new life, not so much for our member owners, so much as for our team. I think that sales is nothing more than transfer of enthusiasm. And so you got to get your staff pumped up and excited about it, whether it's in digital or whether it's in person. And so at Peak Credit, that's one thing that we do. We make sure that we have fresh new promos and we're bringing new things to the market. So maybe something wasn't as enticing to the member owners or to our employees before, but maybe this one is. And so we're starting to see some really good results over the past 30 days. So we were struggling early on, but as we continue to put this multi-campaign approach in play, the results are starting to come to fruition.
So do you see that different groups react to different promos?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, even subject lines. So like the words we choose to use in the subject line on an email marketing campaign, for instance, or, the imagery that we use in a social media post absolutely does drive results.
Personally speaking, I'm a big fan of certificates. And I say that especially in uncertain economic environments because it at least allows you to plan in the cycles, right? If you're really good with data, you can plan ahead. You can look at what runoff you're comfortable with. You can look at, your pricing on a dynamic basis. We moved from a model where we were meeting once a month in ALCO and looking back. Now we have our ALCO discussions really on a daily basis by looking at the data, implementing any changes that we need to, and not waiting for one point in a month at a several hour long meeting and then seeing weeks later whether or not it made a difference. Again, implementing the data and having your strategy. I also think it's important to note that any given year, your credit union's strategy could change. So us, for example, we are getting ready to cross the 10 billion threshold, but we're undergoing some really important readiness assessments and some major projects. They're going to help us figure out how close to ready are we, what things do we need to implement before we just blindly cross that threshold. And our deposit pricing strategy is a critical part of that at this moment in time.
How are you approaching deposit growth in a way that's sustainable long-term?
So our long-term strategy is making sure that we serve our member owners across their needs. And so, you have money that's now money that's going to be in a checking account, savings account. You have later money that's going to be CD money. You have money that's going to be meant for specific goals that could be in your investment option, your wealth management department. And you have your never money, right? And that's going to be typically in an insurance policy. It's being a windfall for your heirs. And so we try to look at how our members' sources of funds are going to be distributed and then try to match and meet them where they're at. And then, of course, just market expansion and product expansion. That's going to be where the primary areas of growth are for us.
I think that not putting all of your eggs in one basket becomes really important. I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely a fan of the certificate model based on the strategy of the institution at any moment in time, but never lose sight of the importance of your core deposits. And if your credit union is also involved in business lending, I cannot stress enough how helpful a great cash management platform can be as well to help offset the cost of funds.
It's really about, we talked a little bit about relationships before, and relationships are important because if you get away from the hot money approach and you understand what the consumer needs in their family, then you can build more generational wealth within inside your organization. That's not easy to do. It's a long-term plan. They understand what you can provide. They understand, how you serve, how you develop products, what you can do, or just to help their family out. Then that makes it so much easier for them and for us. So that way they know they have a partner behind the scenes to say, hey, we want the best for you, and we're there for them. And it's making sure that you already are developing those products, that you're not lagging behind. You have to be on the cusp of that innovation. And because if you're not, then again, you're kind of falling behind with the competition.
What role does trust or brand reputation play in how members choose where to keep their deposits?
Trust is everything, and brand reputation is everything. It takes a lifetime to build a brand and just one moment to kill it. Mm-hmm. Are you educating and discussing what you're trying to accomplish as a credit union to help your membership out? Not every financial institution is the same. We may have some of the same products that are kind of cornflakes in the industry, when it comes to checking accounts and cards, that kind of stuff. But everyone takes a different approach, and that different approach may make sense to one type of membership group, whereas maybe some don't see that value proposition, and that's okay. You can't be all things to all people. So at the end of the day, you have to know who you are and how you do it. And then that'll help you kind of streamline your approach within the marketplace, so you're not chasing a bunch of different, pieces out there.
Trying to be everything to everyone.
Right. Very expensive to do.
I think it's the biggest item that we have. If you think about, we've been around for almost 90 years. Mm-hmm. That's 90 years of building deposits in the relationship of trust with our member owners, with our communities that we get to serve. That can all be eroded with one miss, right? So one bad act, one bad habit, one bad issue where we mistreat something or miss on our approach, so to speak. And so trust is paramount. It's the primary imperative that we have at our organization, making sure that we continue to build trust with our member owners, build trust with our team members, and build trust with our communities.
How has social media affected that with brand? Because it's, one of those, somebody could have a bad experience, put it on social media, now everybody knows. Has that been something that you've seen?
For sure. We view that as another source of feedback. And so we did have a member that got disgruntled about a particular item around some of our core value efforts that we have in our organization, but we were able to respond. And so it's another form of interaction. Now, of course, being on social media, the interaction is a little bit different than in a person-to-person environment where maybe we're more respectful when there's a human collision event, but it is another good source. In that area, we've not done a fantastic job as far as that goes with our brand and social media, but something that we're leaning to more and more and more over the recent months. Again, I've only been there for a few months now, but it is something that's on our strategic plan.
When I hear that, I think about where are my core accounts, right? Like, not where am I parking short-term investments to gain the most interest for a defined period of time, but rather my core banking account. And trust and the reputation of your institution means everything with that. People want to know that their money is safe, that they're not going to be victims of fraud, that the organization is doing right with the member dollars. So yeah, it means everything.
Has Allied contributed to your deposit strategy either through insights, tools, or member engagement programs?
What's neat about Allied is that even if it's not just a deposit product, a lot of times it's the other side of making sure that you're not utilizing different means in order to try to recapture a loss or something of that nature. So what's neat is, Allied tackles it on every different perspective. So it could be a lending product or an insurance product, something to help to make sure that the survivability of that membership, depending on what's going on, will always be there. And so you can go after just the deposits, but yet if you don't see what's happening on the other side of the business and you're watching it run out, that's a big problem. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, Allied's always there for that. And so it's not just attacking one side of it. You have to do the whole thing. It's a global approach to it.
I think when you look at on the deposit side, there are absolutely a lot of different ideas and products and services that Allied can partner with us on. They have some new innovation and some really amazing research around checking deposits and checking growth, and where they've had tremendous success in both building non-interest income and new checking products for credit unions. And so it's something that we're currently reviewing now and hopefully we'll have released in Q1 of next year.
I can't say enough about Allied and our relationship with them. We really rely on them heavily. What I love about Allied is they're always innovative. So they're always bringing, not just new products and services, but they're also willing to say, hey, you're kind of missing some opportunities here. We should strengthen in this area or that area, or let's sit down and take a look at these things. They're engaged with us regularly. And it's because we have such a strong relationship. We're able able to make substantial gains together.
So do you feel like they're looking out for you? So it's kind of one less stress for you to worry about, because you don't have to worry about all the things. You've got them to kind of chime in here and there to be like, hey, you should pay attention to this or reevaluate this.
I feel like I've got a bodyguard for my credit union. It's great.
That is perfect. I love that. A bodyguard for your credit union.